Hello friends, welcome back to epeolatry. For the last 3 sessions, we have been learning how to change an active voice into a passive voice. We have learned so far the basics of voice change. In the last class, we have started learning the rules of voice change in case of the yes/no question. This is the first part of interrogative sentence. Today I shall show you how to change an active voice into a passive voice in case of the WH question. That means today's lesson will be the second part of the voice change of interrogative sentence. In this lesson I am going to share with you my own experience both as a learner and as a teacher. That means the problems that I faced when I learned the method and also the problems that my students faced while learning. Now let's start with a simple example. So on the board you can find a WH question. Why did the man help you? So now we have to change this sentence into a passive voice. So if we forget about this WH word, why, we will find here a yes/no question. Did the man help you? And we have already learned how to change it into a passive voice. What is the process? So first we have to make this interrogative sentence, this yes/no question, into an assertive sentence. And what is the rules here? Here we have to omit the do verb. The do verb here is in the past tense and that means it is past indefinite. Okay, whenever we find do or did, that means that tense is indefinite, present or past. So the sentence has become the man helped you. As it is present past indefinite, so the verb is in the past tense. After that the voice has been changed. The object of active voice has become the subject here, and then the be verb according to the subject. After that the third form of the verb, and then the subject of the active voice has become here the object and it has been placed with by. So it has become a passive voice, and we know that the next step is to make it a yes/no question again. And what is the process? We have to put the be verb at the beginning. So the sentence become were you helped by the man, and the question mark at the end is a must. So now we have to think again about the WH word why. So the question was a WH question, so the answer should be also a WH question. So how can we change it into a WH question? We have to place the WH word at the beginning of the yes/no question. So the final answer is why were you helped by the man? So what are the steps here? So the first thing that we have to remember here is that the WH word which was at the beginning of the WH question, that means in the active voice, remains in the first place of the passive voice. Clear? After that we have to place the be verb, okay, according to the subject of the passive voice. Subject of the passive voice means object of the active voice. We have to determine the be verb, okay, according to the object of the passive voice, object of the active voice. So first comes the WH word, then the be verb. After that we have to write down the object. Clear? Then the third form of the verb, and after that subject of the active voice will come with by at the end, and then there is the question mark. Okay, so if you follow these steps one by one, you can very easily solve this question. You will face no problem as you have already learned how to change a yes/no question from active to passive. So if you have not learned that rule, so I request you to watch that video first. You will find the link in the description. Okay, so in this way we can change an active voice into a passive voice in case of the WH question. But remember one thing, you have to learn these steps. Okay, because in every question you will not be able to follow these steps that I have learned how to change a yes no question and I can change it in this way, even if I do not remember these steps. But it will not be possible. I will show some examples where there is no object clearly. Okay, so try to remember this rule. Clear? Try to remember this rule. Now, for present indefinite and past indefinite, this rule will follow in this way. But in some cases, that means in the continuous tense or in the perfect tense or when there is a modal verb, you will find some problem. What is this? Just try to change it into a continuous tense. Why is a past tense? Why was the man helping you? So the sentence has now become a past continuous tense. Why was the man helping you? So now we know how to change it according to the steps. So we have to forget about why. The sentence is, was the man helping you? So we know that what will be the sentence now? The sentence will become, the man was helping you. If we change it into an assertive sentence, we have to just put the be verb after the subject. The sentence will become, the man was helping you. Got it? Now change the voice. You is the object, so it will become the subject, you. Then we have to put the be verb where, and for continuous tense we have to put being. I have explained all these basic rules in the first lesson. Okay, so if you have not watched that video and you have not mastered those rules, first watch that video, because this is the basic. You were being, third form of the verb, main verb is help, so it will become helped. You were being helped by, then comes the subject of the active voice, the man. So it has become the passive voice. Now we have to change it into a yes no question. So we have to take the be verb out at the beginning. So the question will become, were you being helped by the man, and question mark, and at the end we have to put the WH word at the beginning. So the answer is, why were you being helped by the man? Got it? Okay, so now try to tally this answer with this. So WH word at the beginning, first step, it has been done. Second step is be verb according to the object of the active voice. This is the object of the active voice, the be verb is correct. Then the object of the active voice. Okay, after the third form of the main verb, but here a new word has arrived, being. It was not in the rule. Okay, so now try to understand one thing. In continuous tense, either present continuous or past continuous, in the passive voice you will find the word being, and in the present perfect or in the past perfect you will find the word been after the subject. Okay, so then the rule will become, why were you, that means after the object of active voice there will be any of these words. For continuous tense it is being, and for perfect tense it will be been. Okay, remember this. So if you can follow these steps, there is no possibility of any mistake. But I have already told you that in all situations you will not be able to follow these steps. You have to apply this rule, and for that reason you have to be very attentive and you should have a clear knowledge. Okay, you should not have any kind of doubt. So the first step is the WH word will come at the beginning, then the be verb, okay, according to the object of the active voice. After that the object of the active voice, then the third form of the verb for the indefinite tense, present or past. If it is a continuous or perfect tense, then these words will come for continuous being and for perfect being. After the third form of verb, then the subject. Okay. Now try to solve another example taking a modal auxiliary. The sentence is, what will you teach me today? Okay. So first forget about what, make it simple. So the sentence is, will you teach me today? In assertive sentence we know it will become, you will teach me today. Now who is the subject here? You. Teach is the main verb, me is the object, and will is the modal auxiliary. So in the passive voice the object becomes subject, so me when becomes subject it will become I. Then you will, I, shall, we have to change the modal verb here. Okay, after that we know be will come in the passive voice for modal verb, and then the third form of the main verb, I shall be taught by you today. I shall be taught by you today. Okay, then we have to make it a yes no question, and for that reason we have to place the modal auxiliary at the beginning of the sentence. So it will become, shall I be taught by you today? Question mark. And the final answer will be, what shall I be taught by you today? Okay, so now you will find that some change in this rule. What is the change? First the WH word remains same, then there is no be verb, no need to take a be verb, there will be the modal verb, and the modal verb should match with the subject of the passive voice. That means the object of the passive voice, that become the subject of the passive voice, and modal verb should match with it. We have to take care of it in case of shall and will only. Okay, in other cases modal verb will remain unchanged, and then the object of the active voice, after that the word be will come. The word be will come, as in the case of present continuous tense being has come, for perfect tense been has come, for modal verb be will come. Then the everything remains same, third form of the main verb. After that the subject of the active voice will become here object in the passive voice. Okay, now the second problem. What is the second problem here? Second problem here is that from all these examples one thing we have found common. What is this? That in the passive voice of a WH question the first word is the WH word. It remains unchanged. What remains here? What? Why remains why, isn't it? But there are two exceptions to this rule. What are the two exceptions? The two exceptions are whenever you find who and whom. For these two words, who and whom, who will be changed into by whom and whom will be changed into who. These are two exceptions. Okay. So now let me explain a sentence with who. Who broke this glass? So it's a WH question and the sentence is in the past indefinite tense as there is no auxiliary. Okay, so that sentence is in the past indefinite tense. Now try to understand one thing, that in this sentence, who broke the glass, this answer is absent. That means the subject who did this work is not mentioned here. So here is no subject. Okay, remember this. So the sentence will begin not with who but with by whom. Clear? Then think what is the main verb here? Broke. And who is the object here? This glass. Okay, the glass is broken, so this glass is the object. So what is the rule here? First the WH word, by whom, then there we have to place the be verb according to the object of the active voice. So the object is singular, third person, so the be verb will be was. Then there will come the object, that means this glass. After that, third form of the verb, that means break, broke, broken. So by whom was this glass broken? Now the last step, subject of the active voice with by. Okay, so who is the subject here? Is not mentioned here, so we have not to write anything here and the answer is complete. By whom was this glass broken? Okay, so whenever you find a WH question with who, remember two things. The first one is who will be changed into by whom. The second one is, as there is no subject, we need not to write anything at the end of the sentence as by who. Okay, clear? Now whenever we find a sentence, an interrogative sentence with what and whom, what and whom, remember that in most of the cases, whenever you find a question in the voice change with what or whom, you will not find the object in the sentence. Because try to remember, in the very first class of the voice change, I have told you how to find out an object in a sentence. We have to ask the main verb questions with what and whom. The answer is the object, isn't it? So whenever the question starts itself with whom or what, that means the answer of these questions are absent. That means the object is not mentioned. Okay, let me explain with an example. What do you want? What do you want? So the sentence will begin with what? No problem. After that, try to understand who is the object here. Who is the object here? What do you want? It is not mentioned here. what you want is not mentioned here, so no object here. Okay, so you have to write here the be verb according to the tense, okay, and in singular form. So as it is present indefinite tense, it will be is. Do means present indefinite, it will be is. After that, this step will also be missing because there is no object. So we have to write the third form of the main verb, that means want. What is wanted? Then we know you is the subject here, so this step will be here, that means by you. So the answer here, what is wanted by you. That means we can find here that one thing, that the object which should be placed according to the rule is missing here. Okay, and we have to put the verb in the singular form and according to the tense of the WH question. Clear? Now take another example with whom. Whom do you like? So here we find that the sentence is in the present indefinite tense. You is the subject, but who is the person whom you like is not mentioned here. This is the question. So object is absent here again. So what will be the answer here? We know that whom should be changed into who. So the sentence begin with who, not whom. After that, as it is present indefinite, we have to write the verb is. Then the third form of the main verb, because here is no object. So who is liked, then the subject is you, so it will become who is liked by you. Got it? The last example that I want to show you, some WH questions with which. It is a problematic thing because whenever you find a sentence, a WH question with which, you will find that the answer, that means the passive voice, will start not only with which but a word which is attached with which. Let me explain with an example. Which book have you bought? Which book have you bought? So here you find the word book attached with which, isn't it? Remember other WH questions that I have used here. For example, why do the old man help you? Why was the man helping you? In every cases you will find that the WH word is followed by a be verb. But whenever we find a question with which, you will find that the which is not followed by a be verb, but rather there is another word. Okay, in most cases. So in these cases, remember it that both the words will appear at the beginning of the passive voice. Okay, so the sentence will begin with which book. Not only which but which book. Okay, and then you have to think about the main verb. What is the main verb? You is the subject, but object is again missing because question the main verb with what and whom. What have you bought? What have you bought? That is not mentioned here. This is the question, which book have you bought? So the object is again missing. And whom have you bought? No answer. So which book, we have to again follow the same rule. We have to put the be verb according to the tense and in the singular form. Okay, so which book, so as the book is here also singular, we have to put the singular verb. Which book, it is present perfect tense, so it will become has. Which book has and then for the passive voice we will have to write been, which book has been, then the third form of be verb, third form of main verb by, bought, then the subject question mark. So here we have to modify the rule. First, not only the WH word, by, the word attached with the WH word, okay, which book, then the be verb has come, but as the object is not clearly mentioned here, we have to put it in the singular form, and then there is no object, so this place is vacant, and been has been arrived at, this is the present perfect tense. After that, third form of the verb, and then at the end there is the subject with by. Okay, so these are little things actually, but if you have not clear idea, you will face problems while solving these kind of questions in the examination. For that reason, I have explained each and every way, okay, each and every problem that you may face. So if you still have any query, any doubt, you can ask me in the comment section and I shall try my best to explain it. And if you like this video, I request you to share it with your friends, and I will be glad if you show some love in the form of like. If you are new to this channel, I also request you to consider to subscribe to this channel, because here you will get this kind of lesson regularly. That's all for today. Thank you for watching.